Big news last night. Pedro Sánchez, the Prime Minister of Spain, announced plans for heavy taxes on non-Europeans buying property in Spain. What does that mean? Let's find out. Hey guys, welcome to Costa Insights. So, Kian, tell us about this announcement. What does it mean?
Jesus, what a news, right?
I know.
Like,
and it was your birthday yesterday when you announced it.
No, it's not only my birthday. Like, I've come back from a week and a half vacation. On my birthday, Pedro Sánchez sort of, releases this, massive bomb of a news. Yeah, so first of all, let's give people some context because, I think the first thing we need to sort of address is this is a fragment from a 3.5-hour intervention. Pedro Sánchez, which is the Prime Minister of Spain, had the conference which was El Plan de Vivienda 2026-2030, which actually means the plan for property 2026 to 2030, right? So part of, 12 measures where among them there are certain, taxations on Airbnb, which he wants to implement and so on. But from this 3-hour intervention, there was about a minute where, the concern us, right? That he just said, he said as is, no? He said, we plan to increase taxation on non-residents from outside the EU buying property in Spain to up to 100%. So that's what we all heard, right? So rapidly within our market, within, between agencies, developers, this news expanded like fire, no?
And well, I think one of the problems is there was a lot of big words with very little context, very few details.
There's
There's a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors, and just general uncertainty. I mean,
yeah, and that's why we want to do this video today, right? For you guys and for our audience, and also to keep people posted with the latest information on what's going on in this real estate market. So let's give the viewers some context, no?
Absolutely.
What you said is completely right. Like big words, but very little context, very little information. It was literally a minute or less the way he talked about this. So let's start talking about what he can do, right? Or what can happen in Spain. We won't go into the political side of why or what's behind this, but I think that Pedro Sánchez, the Prime Minister of Spain, is in a position right now where he's very known for very populist movements, let's say, At this moment, this needs to go through Congress. So at this moment in time, there is nothing set in stone. Like this needs to pass through Congress, and it's a very ambitious and very complicated thing to pull off, right? So for our buyers that will buy a property in Spain, how would this affect them in taxes? That's it. That's the way it would affect them in taxes.
Ultimately, that's what our viewers are most interested in.
Yeah, no. They're not going to limit foreign buyers buying in Spain. And what they're going to do is go, hey, let's impose heavier taxes.
Well, what they're going to do, what they are
planning to do.
Planning or saying that they want
what they're
to
planning
do.
To do is like, we'll put a heavier tax on this and then sort of deter non-residents out of EU from buying property, right? So how can he do this? Well, there's two ways. By increasing VAT, right? That sort of accounts for new construction properties. So VAT currently is 10%. Or option two, which is increasing ITP, which is also known as transfer tax, right? Transfer tax at this moment in Andalusia, changes around Spain, is 7%. And then you've got a very small tax, which is stamp duty, is AGD, which is 1.2%, right? So his plans are to increase these taxes now. For, let's say, people that don't know how Spain is set up, VAT is, let's say, controlled by the central government, okay? So they can, change VAT, but it's a very, very complex law to pass through Congress. As far as we've talked to lawyers, by the way, we're gonna have a lawyer on our show in the next days on our channel to go into a lot of depth about this. But at first instance, like at first glance, it's a very complex law to pull off. VAT is very complicated in Spain, and it would be a discrimination in one way.
Why would you even say it? Is it to just, you think it's a political move to gain votes?
Yeah,
is that sort of the theory?
Totally. At this moment, the Spanish government is surrounded by corruption scandals and a whole lot of stuff involving the fiscal, so the general prosecutor of Spain, And this is just a headline that takes a bit of pressure off. But that's a different story without going into that. So back to the VAT, it's very complicated things to pull off. Very complicated, okay? But that's what the government can work on. Now, with regards to ITP, yeah, that's something that they can try to increase. But the reality is ITP tax and AGD tax, so Impuesto de Transmisiones Patrimoniales transfer tax, which is only for resale property. So if you were to buy a resale property, you pay transfer tax, not VAT. In Andalusia, again, it's 7%. That is commanded by the autonomous region. Now, what is an autonomous region? You have Spain as a whole, right? And then you have different autonomous regions within Spain. So you have Andalusia, you have
Catalonia.
No, not the provinces. Autonomías are composed of provinces. It's like it's basically you have the country and then you have autonomous regions, and within autonomous regions you have provinces. So the province of Malaga will have its own government. All these provinces make up Andalusia, and Andalusia has its own government, right? Okay. So that government is the government that controls the ITP and transfer tax. At this moment, the Junta Andalucía is governed by the Partido Popular, and they will in no way allow ITP in Andalusia to be increased. It's contrary to their beliefs. That's the way it is at the moment. So, to answer like what most people are thinking is, our view on this is that it's going to be a very difficult thing to pull off.
So we have a lot of clients, a lot of non-EU, non-resident clients, which my understanding or our understanding is that this is who this could potentially affect. Some people have already bought a property, but are waiting, in the case of new development projects, are waiting for them to complete. Others are sitting on the fence or maybe have been waiting for the right resale property. Help us understand, what does this mean depending on where you are at in your purchase process of property? Be it new construction or resale, like what should people think?
We can start with the easiest, yeah, Matt? So the easiest is if you're at the moment with feet on the ground trying to buy a resale property within this year, right? A resale property, it's a very easy transaction because nothing is in place at this moment. You can come over, buy a property within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months, and ITP will not be increased, So for the people which are buying resale properties right now, there is no change, right? There is, let's say, a bit of uncertainty that's been thrown in the air by the Prime Minister with regards to VAT down the line, right? So when it comes to resale properties, people on the ground buying, I think it just creates more urgency to buy as soon as possible if you're American or you're out of even UK. If you are in the market thinking about buying next year, this would, in my opinion, and what I think is going to happen is make people make a move faster. You can have people which are going to, come over and buy properties now to not possibly because there's no way to know this is going to actually come into action or into force. I think we're going to have a flurry of activities like in the next 6, 7 months, 8 months, 10 months. Of people buying resale properties now. With new developments, the reality, it's very early days. That's what I would tell all of our clients, and it's very difficult to understand what he means because he's being very ambiguous. Again, from a 3.5 hour conference, he just gave 1 minute to this topic and he went into no detail whatsoever. Is it going to be different in different parts of Spain? It's not the same to talk about Madrid and Barcelona than it is to talk about the coast of Malaga, Cádiz, Alicante. He made a mention that he wanted to make these changes as other countries have done, like Denmark and Canada. As far as I'm aware, Denmark and Canada don't have a beach tourism like Spain has.
Yeah.
Right? So it's very ambiguous. And also in Spain, there's what we call a concept of zonas tensionadas. So there are certain places that have, let's say, it's very difficult to access property, rental market. And this happens mainly in the big urbas, which is Barcelona, Madrid, and so on. And these zonas tensionadas, I think, is where they're going to impose most restrictions. Places like Malaga, Costa del Sol, Costa Blanca, Costa de Luz, with tourism and also residential tourism. For people who don't know what residential tourism is, we have a big market of Norwegians, for example, that are non-EU, that come and spend 6 months a year here. They contribute tremendously to the economy. They spend 6 months a year here and then 6 months of summer back in their own country. I mean, those people contribute tremendously to the economy. What we call residential tourists, and like Spain is no way gonna, put that into jeopardy. At this moment, I think it's big words that obviously are gonna frighten a lot of people, but I'd say back to what I was saying earlier, it's very early stages, very early days, and I really think that as many other things that this government has tried to put into action. There's been numerous laws that they've announced and have failed at Congress. We'll see how it goes. But more news obviously coming your way in the next 48 hours, no?
Yeah. Well, let's see. So I think let cool heads prevail for the time being.
Totally.
And we're going to continue to keep you guys posted as and when we hear more information about these latest announcements.
Yeah. And by the way, just before we go, if you are new to the channel and you want to stay posted with videos just like these, don't forget to like, comment any questions you have, by the way. We'd love to hear your comments about this subject. Absolutely love to.
I think we're going to get a
I think we're
quite
going
a
to
few.
ton of comments on this one.
Yeah.
And subscribe to the channel to stay posted with the best of the best.
That's right.
More info coming your way. Ciao.